Okay, so have you ever, like, I don't know, been curious about what it'd be like to just be in the room during a world leaders press conference?
Well, you
You know,
take
when things get really real, really unscripted?
oh, like behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. And today, we kind of get to do that. We've got this transcript, and it is fascinating.
It's not every day we get this level of access.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a direct line to how they think, what they're focused on,
Hmm.
how they talk to the country, in this case, Mexico.
It's 7th October, 2024. We're in Mexico City, and the president is ready to answer anything. Healthcare, hurricane recovery, you name it.
And let's not forget, we're working from a translated transcript here. Add the whole other layer to it, deciphering not just the words, but the nuances from Spanish to English.
Okay, so first up, healthcare. Salud casa por casa, love the name.
Health at home, it's got a good ring to it, right?
Very personal.
And the policy matches. We're talking a huge expansion of healthcare, especially for seniors, people with disabilities, imagine home visits, personalized care, all that.
The president mentioned some big numbers, too. 12 million pensioners, 20,000 new healthcare workers. That's next-level stuff.
It is. It's not just a policy tweak. It's like they're rebuilding the system.
Yeah.
And the focus on early intervention, preventing things before they become huge problems. That's smart.
And expensive. I mean, that's got to have a huge ripple effect.
Oh, absolutely. Economically, socially.
Yeah.
You can't make a change that big without some serious ripples.
They also talk about a new census, going door to door to see what people actually need.
Exactly. Tailor-made solutions, not one size fits all.
Which, speaking of, brings us to judicial reform, where things get a little more, shall we say, spicy.
Yeah, the president isn't shying away from the tough stuff, changing how judges are elected, pushing for more transparency. That's going to ruffle some feathers.
Big time. Especially that whole thing about judges being elected by the people, not appointed. That's a huge shift in power.
It's exciting, but risky.
Hmm.
More accountability, maybe, but also more potential for, politics getting involved. How do you balance that?
$1 million question. And the president's not wasting any time either, laying out deadlines, specific dates. It's bold.
Definitely suggest they want to see this happen, like yesterday.
But hold on, before we get to the hurricane, there's this really touching part where the president talks about Ifigenia Martínez.
Oh, right. Suffragette who recently passed. That was powerful.
It was.
And smart, strategically speaking. Talking about someone who fought for voting rights, right after laying out these big judicial reforms, you see the connection.
Subtle but effective. Speaking of effective, can we talk about that comedian who called the president an ama de casa? Like, as an insult?
Oh, man. I'd forgot about that. Not cool.
Not at all. But the way the president handled it, masterclass in turning a negative into, like, a whole TED Talk.
For real. They could have brushed it off, but instead, they dove into societal expectations around women's work.
Unpaid labor, financial vulnerability.
And then seamlessly tied it back to one of their own policies, the one helping women age 60 to 64 financially. That's some next-level strategy there.
Okay, so we've got healthcare reform, we've got judicial reform, we've got heartfelt tributes, A&D political maneuvering, and we haven't even gotten to the hurricane yet. Buckle up. All right, so Hurricane Otis, right. Talk about a test for any leader. And from this transcript, the president didn't shy away, not for a second.
No way. This is how you do crisis communication. By the book. Empathy? Check. But also action, solutions. They nailed it.
Right. They didn't just give, like, generic thoughts and prayers. They got into the nitty-gritty, talking about pumping stations, water distribution.
Details, man. That's how you show you're on top of it. That you get it, not just some distant figurehead.
Totally. Like, we're all in this together, but, like, the real deal,
Yeah.
Not sugarcoating anything.
Right. And then they connect that seamlessly to this bigger conversation about infrastructure.
Oh, yeah, the AIFA airport. That was interesting.
Right. For those listening who don't know, this airport has been huge in Mexico.
Right.
Controversial, too, but the president's been all in on it.
Big time. And here, they're using it as an example. It was essential during the hurricane, transporting aid personnel.
Exactly. And that feeds right into their point. We need strong infrastructure for moments like this.
So smart. Taking something everyone's talking about, the hurricane, and using it to promote their own agenda.
Well, it's not just agenda, right? It's about the future of the country.
Mm.
And they emphasize that it's not just on the government either. They want private businesses, everyone, working together.
Which says something, right, about their leadership style. Not afraid to share responsibility, to admit they don't have all the answers.
Huge point. This whole deep dive has been fascinating for that.
Mm.
This president, they're proactive, decisive. You can't deny that.
It's like really decisive. Whether it's healthcare, the courts, even a natural disaster, it's like, bam, we're tackling this head on.
And people respond to that. You can see it in the polls, you hear it in the media. It's a different approach.
Totally different. A lot of world leaders, they're so cautious, reactive. This feels like a whole new playbook, but do you think it's sustainable? I mean, this much honesty all the
Yeah.
time. That's got to be risky.
Honestly, yeah, it's risky. It's a high wire act for sure.
Yeah.
Especially with social media. One wrong step and boom.
Gone viral for all the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
Mm.
But they pull it off somehow. And even with all the, tough talk, there's still that warmth, that personal touch. That story about Ifigenia Martínez, the way they handled the ama de casa comment. That's human.
It's a balance, that's for sure. And they're managing it, like, expertly.
No doubt. And I think that's what makes this so fascinating to unpack. The policies, the action, the personality, it's all connected.
I mean, wow, right. We just covered, what, like a whole presidential term in, like, an hour?
Seriously. Healthcare, hurricanes, high-stakes political drama, they packed it all in.
It's kind of amazing, right? This president, they're not messing around. They're here to shake things up and get things done.
And that's what makes this, like, more than just a policy review. We're seeing a leadership style in action. Someone who's not afraid to be in the arena.
Totally. And doing it in a way that's actually kind of compelling. Who knew a press conference could be this interesting?
Right. It's not just what they're saying, it's how. That directness, that energy. It's contagious.
Yeah. Totally. But okay, last thought before we wrap this up. Imagine this leader, this style, in your country right now. What would people think?
Ooh, that's a good one. It'd be fascinating to see, wouldn't it?
Hmm.
Every country's got its own vibe, its own expectations, what
Yeah.
flies in one place.
Could totally crash and burn in another.
Exactly. And that's why these deep dives are so cool. We're not just learning about one leader, one country.
We're learning about what's possible, what leadership can look like. Makes you think.
It really does. And on that note, I think we've done our due diligence for today, right?
Totally. So until next time, everyone, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.